Hi friends, today we are going to read our book that we listened to yesterday, Down to the Sea with Mr. McGee, and you guys are going to work a little bit more on your own today with restating those questions. Remember, you have to use part of your question in your answer. That's called a restatement. So let's look at the questions that I would like you to answer today. What was Mr. McGee's problem? So I want you to think about how would you restate that so that you use part of this in your answer. What was Mr. McGee's problem? Can you say it out loud right now? Good. Hopefully you did. Mr. McGee's problem was he was stuck in a tree. Okay? And you would rewrite that. Mr. McGee's problem was he was stuck in a tree. Make sure you use your punctuation at the end. Let's look at the next one. How was Mr. McGee's problem solved? So how would you answer that? Can you say it out loud right now? Okay. Hopefully you said Mr. McGee's problem was. Oh, do you remember from yesterday we need to add a word? So we're going to do that caret to let us know that we can't forget the word was. And then solved. Okay. So Mr. McGee's problem was solved when the, and then you have to finish it. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to do all of your work for you today. So let's look at the other three. How would you describe Mr. McGee? We've talked a lot about characters and character traits and how do we describe these characters. How would you describe Mr. McGee? Okay, what word would you use or words would you use to describe Mr. McGee? So how would you describe Mr. McGee? So let's turn that around. I would describe Mr. McGee as, okay, let's look at the next one. Is this story fantasy or realistic fiction? How do you know? Remember, fantasy, it could not really happen. Somebody made it up and it would never happen. Realistic fiction, somebody made up the story, but it could actually happen. So think in your brain right now, could this actually happen to a man and his dog? If you're saying, no, that could never happen, that's fantasy. If you're saying, yeah, that could happen, that would make it realistic fiction. So you're going to answer it. This story is fantasy because, tell me how you know. Use something from the text. Or this story is realistic fiction because, tell me why do you think it's realistic fiction? Okay. Then down on the bottom, where would you like to see Mr. McGee and Dee go next? So if you could come up with the next adventure, let's say that you could write Chris Van Dusen a letter and give him a suggestion. Where would you like to see Mr. McGee and Dee go? Can I give you a little secret? The friends in my class may remember I read to them Camping Spree with Mr. McGee. So he's already been on a camping spree. So he's been on a camping spree and he's been down to the sea. Where else would you like to see Mr. McGee and to have an adventure? Okay, so how would we turn this around? Where would you like to see Mr. McGee and Dee go? I would like to see Mr. McGee and Dee go, put your answer in, next. They're going to go to the beach? Are they going to go to the zoo? Ooh. I bet they could get into some trouble at the zoo. Are they going to go to the circus? Are they going to go to a football game? Where could Mr. McGee and Dee go next? Okay. Good luck today, guys. Remember to reread your work. Check for capitals, check for periods, and make sure that it makes sense. Take a picture of your work, send it to your teacher so that she can see all of your hard work. Bye, guys.